I think my favorite designers are Thierry Mugler, Jean-Paul Gaultier. I love everything. I don't know, I mean, I have so many inspirations, but definitely Thierry Mugler is like my favorite designer ever. I wish he was still designing for his house, but he's an artist, so I guess it makes sense. Before I became like what I am now, I don't know, I guess I listened to Rupaul as a child. So I knew about Rupaul and Supermodel. I was born in '92, which is when his album came out, Supermodel. I think that was my first reference, I guess, to drag, and I didn't even know about it. So I guess that was kind of my first drag queen. That's crazy to think about. There has to be others. I mean, I'm sure I've seen like Divine. I don't know like where to place all my references on a timeline. I've always been dressing up in women's clothing, like ever since I can remember as a child. I think when I first started that I wanted to become, a professional drag queen and performer is when I went out in my city, my home city of Atlanta, and I just wasn't impressed with anybody. So I would go to shows and I would be like, oh my God, these drag queens are horrible. Like, I can do way better than them at this. So I did. Yeah, I try to follow fashion, current fashion, closely, but not too closely, because I feel like you can get really wrapped up in what's going on in the fashion world, and you get this like collective consciousness, and like all of a sudden like subconsciously everyone's doing one thing, and it's like, and so you do it subconsciously and you don't even know about it, or maybe you have the same idea that a designer had at the same time, and it's like because you can be so plugged in and you can like follow fashion too closely, you kind of lose your own identity. So I try to balance out like following what's going on currently in fashion and what's kind of my own aesthetic and what I like besides all of that stuff, So yeah, I follow it, and I go to shows sometimes, and I like to look at it and think about it and analyze it and study someone's brand and aesthetic and critique it, and I'm constantly critiquing designers behind their backs, and that's like all me and my roommate do is talk shit about designers that we see and their stuff, or praise them, I think anyone who can put their art out there and get it critiqued in public is, just like me, is pretty awesome and pretty brave, and I think it is cool to follow it, but you also can't get too distracted by it. The best dressed drag queen? Besides me?
Besides you?
Okay, Amanda Lepore, even though she's not really a drag queen, but she's just kind of like a queer fashion icon. I think is one of the best dressed performers and queer nightlife people that I know. Oh, you know what? I also think Katya dresses really well. She doesn't get enough credit for her references. She follows fashion. It's really crazy. You wouldn't think she does, but she actually does. If you look at her outfits and you kind of pick them apart, she's really on trend, and she really studies it and knows what she's talking about and has good taste, but she does it in this way that's like a Russian hooker would do it. So it's like, it gets a little distorted, which is really cool. So I think she's actually one of the best dressed as well, but she doesn't get recognized for it, I guess, as much as she should. The worst dress? Probably Katya. I don't know, that's what came about, that's what triggered all of that. I don't know who's the worst dressed. I mean, there's some really horribly dressed drag queens out there. So, I don't know. I mean, that's like a longer list, But again, it's like drag, there's no rules to drag, so it's not like it's like a preference more than like, oh, I hate these things. It's really like whatever you want to do, girl, but you look like shit. I'm just kidding. I actually went to school for design. I went to this school in Atlanta called SCAD, and I dropped out to become a drag queen. So now that I'm not constantly going all the time, I can kind of pick and choose what I want to do and have more time to kind of do projects like that. So the goal for 2017 is definitely I say this every year, but this year it's gonna happen. I'm gonna do something. I'm kind of gonna go back to my roots and start designing more. I design a lot of my own stuff, but I want to go back and really maybe do a collection or something fun and creative for me, and just make it all about fantasy and glamour and excess. From 10 years from now, I don't think I'll be doing drag in 10 years. I don't see myself doing drag I hope I'm not doing drag in 10 years. I really hope I'm not. It's just so much work. It's so much work, and I'm young, so I can keep up with it now, but I can't imagine. And I want to keep the level that I'm at. I want to keep going up, and it's hard and difficult, so I know I'm going to get to a point where I'm over it. So I hope I'll be segued into some other creative outlet. Yeah, I don't know, I think I'm going to go into creative directing or styling or maybe editing, who knows. I'm sending love to you guys at Viste La Care and all my fans in Chile. I'm having the best time here. It's gorgeous. I'm going to the beach tomorrow and I'm so excited.